It's time for Making a Living with Maggie Mistel, one of the nation's best-known career coaches. Ready to soul search, research, and job search into your ideal career? Career Happy Hour starts now.
Hi, and welcome to Making a Living with Maggie. I'm excited to be with you today, helping you kick off this new year. And I'm already jumping right in. Hopefully you are too. Getting things going for yourself, getting things going for your career. I'm excited to report I did a book signing, my first one of my new book, Are You Ready to Love Your Job?, which came out in the fall. And it's all about making a great living through soul search, research, and job search. And if you haven't seen it, you can check it out in paperback and on Kindle on Amazon. Just check it out there, and I'll put a link in the show notes. But it's getting very well received, had a great turnout at the book signing. I think the coolest part was not only support from people that knew me, friends, family, but also people who just felt compelled to go into the bookstore that day. Very interesting. People that did not know me at all, who just felt like stopping in. And it turned out the book was the perfect thing. So trust that intuition, right? Trust those inklings, as you've heard me say many times here on Making a Living, because they will get you in the right place at the right time. Well, I'm excited because my guest today is Randall Sheffield, owner of Moksha Therapy in Key West, Florida. He's expanded his physical therapy practice to include healing the body, mind, and spirit, right? And breath work is a key to this kind of holistic healing. And we're going to talk about what that means, the benefits, and how you can use your own breath to de-stress, heal, gain clarity, focus, all these wonderful things. It's really something new that I'm learning more about. Research has come out. There's wonderful books about it. So you're going to get a firsthand experience today with Randall sharing breathing techniques that you can use right now to help you, and including, health benefits like lowering blood pressure. Very interesting. So you'll get to hear that from Randall coming up later in the show. Also coming up today, I share a tip from my book on career-defining moments and how they can point you to your career path. That's right. So I'll be sharing tips throughout the book on Making a Living with Maggie that can help you understand and get inspired to live your own wonderful, ideal career in such a way that is inspired and makes you a great living. Everything, soup to nuts. I'm all about having it all. And in my world, which is what you get to listen to every time you listen to this podcast, you get to come into Maggie's world where anything is possible. So really suspend any judgments or doubt while you're listening to this. Be open, listen to my guests and the advice they give and the ideas they share, because I really think through who I put on this podcast because I want to take you to the next level. Okay. I'm not just talking about income wise or promotion wise, though those are great, but just consciousness wise, right? These are really interesting times. And I feel like we have more possibilities available to us, and we need to stay in a high vibe to take advantage of those. Where are you setting your GPS? Are you feeling empowered? Are you thinking empowered thoughts? Are you talking to yourself in a positive way like a coach would? Or are you feeling like a victim of circumstance, right? That too many things are not going your way. I'll tell you, everything happens for a valid reason. That means everything. It kind of hit me. I was like, oh, everything. And I just talked to a client recently who did get laid off, has been going through some personal challenges as well. It's not the first one I've heard. So many people have said, wow, I'm going through a lot right now. And again, it's this self-empowerment versus feeling like a victim of circumstance. Look at your circumstances as actually helping you become stronger or become more effective or learn something that's been challenging to you. Look for those silver linings if you can. Anyone else feeling like this is that kind of exciting time to evolve yourself in your world, in your work, right? That's where I'm keep setting my GPS, that this is an exciting time. This is a time of evolution. Yes, it's a time of change. And yes, you could look at scary things and you could always do that, right? Look back at times in history when great things happened. There was scary stuff going on. But those people that did great things focused on love. They focused on self-empowerment. They focused on their power, right? And I'll tell you, many of my clients, which I think is really exciting, are feeling this energy too, because they've kind of come back around. I've had several people who had to take a hiatus of some sort in 2022 for various reasons. And now they're reinvigorated and they're back. They're back and moving forward with the energy of the new year. They're harnessing that. They're making things happen for themselves, whether it's doing their informational interviews, whether it's going on job interviews, whether it's working on that resume, whether it's doing their soul search, right? People are really moving forward. And I think it's good for you to hear that because it can be easy to feel stuck. Or again, if you fall into that victim of circumstance mindset, sometimes it's hard to just get the energy going, right? To be able to do something. We're just not there. And that's what a lot of my clients felt last year. And the good news is those folks are feeling the energies back this year. They're feeling supported. They're feeling excited again. They're feeling ready to get back on the horse, so to speak. So perhaps you love the idea too of kind of harnessing this energy of 2023, but maybe you're feeling a bit stuck, or maybe you could just use some support. Well, I've got a great support group in my winter mastermind, and it kicks off this month, and it's 3 group Zoom sessions where I lead a discussion on a productive mindset topic, and the participants do an exercise or 2 for homework after the session. And then they bring the concept to life in their own careers. And the Zoom sessions are conducted live, and there's a 1 date in January, 1 date in February, 1 date in March, but they're recorded. So in case people miss them, they can listen in and don't have to miss out. The topics I'm very excited about, and these are resonating really well with people. The January topic is reset, reflect, and relaunch. Redefining work-life balance is the February mastermind group conversation, and staying focused on your passion and purpose is the March conversation. So if any of these topics resonate with you, let me know if you want to participate in the mastermind group. It is a paid service that I provide, but it's group coaching, so the prices are lower, and you get a lot of value out of that group dynamic. I also recommend you dance and move and sing. That's right. Get out of being sedentary. Get up from your desk, have some fun in your life, put fun back in, schedule it if you have to. Why? Because that's another way to free us up from negativity, right? Movement. I just saw a book about movement and how important it is, right? So this research is all coming out for us that in case you need research to get convinced, it's there, okay? I was recently able to be in Jamaica for the first time, and I bought a shirt that said good vibes only. Because the thing I loved about Jamaica and the impression I got from the people that I met there was that higher vibes are the way they, go. It's just the way they think. If you're not sure about this feeling or don't know what I'm talking about, all you got to do is listen to some Bob Marley. I got to be honest. He's Jamaican, and that whole everything's going to be all right kind of concept is so ingrained in their culture. It's really a relaxed yet focused yet happy place to be in. I think that's Zen. That to me is the definition of Zen. So there you go. You want Zen? Listen to Bob Marley. You might also want to embrace any situations that are challenging you and try to see how they're helping you. So even if things don't, you don't appreciate them or you wouldn't have asked for them, trust that they're a positive influence in your life and then try to see how that's the case. Another great saying that I posted recently on my LinkedIn page, and I'm always sharing these kinds of positive affirmations and quotes on my social media accounts, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And you can find me there. I'm at Maggie Mistel on all of them. Is I'm not a product of my circumstances. I'm a product of my decisions. I love that quote. And the corollary from Agatha Schooler, who's been on this show, is a peaceful, calm heart makes good decisions, right? That peaceful, calm heart makes good decisions. So if you get yourself up and motivated, if you join groups like my mastermind and get surrounding yourself with positive people who are supporting you. And if you think everything's going to be all right, you take that attitude, peaceful, calm heart makes good decisions. And then you become a product not of your circumstances, but of your decisions. And look at how the positivity just starts cycling upward, right? The trajectory changes from feeling stuck or feeling like you're spiraling down. It stops and starts to turn and go up. It's wonderful. So choose where you align. Choose your GPS. This is your choice, not only in 2023, but from here on out, positive or negative, right? Where do you want to set your GPS? You can transform challenges, see them as a gift to evolve. You can stay above it all, right? With the GPS of love. And to do that, stick to thoughts of gratitude, stick to thoughts of appreciation, stick to thoughts of peace, joy, love. I know this can sound like hippy dippy stuff, right? But it's, active appreciation, which another person I follow on LinkedIn who I love is Jack Canfield. He's been on this show and on my SiriusXM show. Big fan of Jack. He said, practicing appreciation of people in your life. Like, make it a goal to appreciate 2 people per day and tell them you appreciate them. Guess what? You'll get a gift back as well. So choose to see things and use things in a positive frequency in your life. And trust me, you'll create your own magic. This is part of Maggie's world too. And I tell my clients, you come in here, suspend all doubt, and you will see magic happen. And it happens. It's real. It's not just in Maggie's world. Your world has it too. You just have to trust and believe. So, time to create that wonderful world for yourself, and I'm going to help you do it here today. We're going to talk with Randall Sheffield of Moksha Therapy with some breathing techniques that are really going to change your life. So stay tuned for more right here on Making a Living with Maggie. Are you ready to travel through wine? I am. After another successful virtual tasting, traveling through Italy, travel writer Craig Zabransky is highlighting wintry whites and bold, flavorful reds to keep you warm in his next virtual tasting. As your guide, Craig hand-selected and curated a list of winter wines to keep you cozy through the season. He'll discuss each wine and share details on the grapes, regions, styles, pairings, and more in a 90-minute presentation. A world-traveling foodie, Craig will share a menu of simple-to-prepare items with the list of curated wines so that you can create a fabulous and fun evening in the comfort of your own home. Join Craig virtually this February 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern to travel through wine and find wines to warm you up this winter. Email him at craig@stayluxurious.com for more details or to set up your own private tasting event. Well, I'm excited to introduce Randall Sheffield, owner of Moksha Therapy in Key West, Florida. Randall is a graduate of the University of South Florida, where he received his doctorate of physical therapy. Prior to his doctorate life, Randall was a collegiate student athlete who completed his bachelor's degree in business management from Georgia Southwestern State University. During his senior year of baseball, he was voted team captain amongst his peers, along with making the academic All-American team. Following his bachelor's degree, a desire and drive to optimize health and fitness began to step into the limelight, and the practice of physical therapy seemed to fall into place. With the passion of optimizing one's true potential, Randall began studying and understanding the connection that lies between the mind, the body, and the spirit. Welcome, Randall.
Thanks for having me, Maggie.
Oh, my pleasure. Isn't it great when you hear your bio and you're like, yeah, that's me?
That's nice. I sometimes forget about all this, we live in the present moment, sometimes don't really think about the past. And it's always, at least for me, it's a nice reminder to remember where we've come from, where I've come from, and notice all those little building blocks along the way that have kind of led me to here and now. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, it seems like your path is definitely an important one and one that is unfolding. And I'm so glad for it, because I have been looking to talk to someone about this connection of mind, body, and spirit, and breath work, and many of the things that we're going to get into that you do. So let's start with healing the individual as a whole, right? So you believe for us to truly heal, we have to look at the mind, the body, and the spirit. So tell us about that and what you've learned there.
Yeah, I feel like for us to really take hold and for us to truly heal on the deepest level we can, everything's intertwined, everything is connected. I've worked with a lot of individuals over the years, and it's really interesting to see individuals who come in with shoulder pain or hip pain, and all of a sudden you hear them talk about the story, and it's like, this has been going on a while, right? So it's not just a physical thing. It starts to become intertwined into their beliefs. And that kind of takes a deep root into the way they feel about themselves. And then there's an emotion that it gets attached to, right? So we can heal the physical body a lot of the times very quickly. But what I've found is if we don't really dive to the root, that physical ailment just continues to surface because the belief and the emotion are still there.
Right.
So when we have to dive into the body, it can become a little bit uncomfortable because oftentimes people don't want to clean out their closet, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're just like, oh, give me the quick fix, give me the Band-Aid, give me the pill, whatever it is, just to get me back going. And then it doesn't really fix the root cause, right? So through this line of work and kind of exploring myself and my own journey, I found that, when we really dive in, we can ask the difficult questions, like what's really going on here, and you've probably done this too. You've picked up on certain conversations where it has more of a negative tone. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why this? Things don't really work out for me, da-da-da-da-da. We can kind of continue to see that pattern. And so just by bringing a little bit of light to a lot of some of the self-talk, self-limiting beliefs, uncovering, what individuals really think and how they feel about the injury, we can slowly start to rewrite that program, give them a little bit more self-confidence, a little bit more self-awareness of the issue, as well as kind of diving into the physical. And it slowly starts to unwind. I've seen some pretty miraculous things. Wow.
Well, that's how you came to me, was actually through someone who you miraculously helped heal. So, yes. I know it's real.
Yes, it is. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Well, you continue to further your understanding of the body, the mind, the spirit connection with yoga teacher training, as well as becoming a functional and therapeutic breath work instructor. And this is kind of a new area that I guess we're rediscovering. So what is breath work, Randall? Shed some light on that for us. And how does it compare to meditation? Tell us more about that.
So the best way I could define breath work is that it's essentially just an extension of meditation. I mean, you could really call them one and the same. For instance, when you meditate, or for introductory meditators, at least when I'm working with them, I just tell them to focus on their breathing, focus on the tip of their nose, and just simply notice your breath, which a lot of people don't do or never really even thought about. Our breath is the first thing that brings us into this world, right? When we come out of our mother's womb, it's like, oh, we're online, like everything kind of comes on board. And it's usually the last thing that leaves us when we go. But how many breaths have you actually taken and sat with and savored and slowed down and actually felt? And there's some amazing benefits that actually come from that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But when we slow down and actually can feel the breath, it becomes a form of meditation because it helps bring us back into the body. We get so focused on the outside world, the external gratification, the very, superficial things. But breath, when we slow it down, it is a form of meditation. So I don't really consider them separate. I kind of consider them one and the same, at least for me. You'll have some people call it, different, just nuances, but breath work, meditation, it can be combined and together, just simply slowing down. Now, there are certain different techniques we'll get into later, but
yeah, actually, I'd like to hear about those. Yeah, go ahead.
There's quite a few techniques out there, right? Everybody's got their own kind of.
There's a lot of techniques. There's books about it now. There's research about it now. There's kind of a lot. And I think that's what's interesting because it's new, but at the same time, there's so much to sift through. So to be able to talk to you who does this work, it's so helpful. So even if you can just share, some simple techniques that you recommend or you tend to find helpful just to get people started, I think it'll enlighten them a bit.
Yeah. What I've found is simplicity is key. The first thing I usually do is just try and get people to actually recognize their breath. And the simple way to do that, if you're practicing at home, place a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly, take a few breaths and see which one moves first. What I've found is oftentimes people live up in the chest, especially with individuals who endure a lot of stress. We tend to short and shallow breathe, which occupies the chest. Yeah. And what happens then is it just continues to escalate the problem. So with a hand on the belly, hand on the chest, you may take a few breaths and notice which one moves. And if it is the one on the chest, switch it down to the belly. And that alone can help you notice or switch gears, if you will, to a much calmer state.
That's where healing happens, right? They say like going to the parasympathetic nervous system and then your body can relax. It's not in fight or flight mode anymore, right?
Yeah, which is what a lot of us get caught in, right? We get caught in this sympathetic state. Chasing
sounds like
death.
Such a good thing.
It's not. That system was designed to really prevent us from attack or any type of predator, right? Before this modern day society that we live in, like that system would kick in with like a bear coming out of the woods or like a tiger. And it would be to either like fight, defend, protect your family, your loved ones, or to run. We don't really live in that environment where there's a bear, a tiger, a threat all the time. But our modern day threats are deadlines, taxes, rent, boss, whatever it may be. But we get induced in this stressful environment. We really have a hard time as a society slowing down. We get so used to go, do the next thing on the list. And it's really uncomfortable for a lot of people to actually slow down.
Wow.
So the breath, what I've found is the breath can be a little bit uncomfortable for those, but the more we slow down, the more it's just like anything new, right? There's a little bit of that uncomfortableness, but the more you're willing to step into that, it's really powerful and beautiful what can come from it.
Yeah, well, that's, perfect segue into the benefits that you've seen from breath work, or that you've learned about from this type of, just slowing down and breathing and using, your full lungs, all that good stuff. Tell us what you've seen, Randall.
So just to start off with the benefits, if you have high blood pressure, it can help reduce it. Oh. Just by simply slowing down your breathing, which a lot of individuals have high blood pressure nowadays, and they turn to medication. Well, your breath can be a way to help reduce that. Drop the blood pressure. It helps reduce your heart rate. It also helps decrease the overall stress that we endure, right? Stress is, at least in my eyes, the number one cause of disease, which if you break disease down, it breaks down into dis-ease, which is disruption of an eased state. So by reducing the stress, the system works a little bit better. There's less tension in the system and blood flows more naturally. You're a little calmer. Those are just to name a few. And one of the simple practices that I instruct some people, especially if they're mouth breathers, is to simply return back to your nose. This thing on our face, this nose, is for breathing. Our mouth is for eating and communicating. And just by simply making that switch, there can be huge, huge benefits, because there's this powerful molecule called nitric oxide that we produce as we breathe through our nose. And it's a smooth muscle relaxer, meaning that our blood vessels kind of dilate or expand, allowing blood to flow more naturally. So that helps decrease the blood pressure. I also like to mention this to the fellows who may be listening. It also helps with our libido. It helps with sexual function, sexual drive, and it can help replace that little blue pill that a lot of individuals rely on, because it gets blood flowing where it needs to. So those are just like,
I can see that benefit. There's more and more commercials about more.
Yeah, there's no commercials about breathing.
We need commercials about breathing, Randall. I guess this is one of them.
Well, it's also to say with women as well too. That's on the same lines, right? Because it's essentially blood flow to our sexual organs. So same benefit for women. It can help women reach the big O, or orgasm, much easier if we slow down our breath. So.
Wow, fascinating. Yeah, and women are experiencing more heart disease and stroke, which were traditionally more male diseases, and probably because of the stress and breathing all of a sudden. So I think what's interesting to me is, as I've learned about breath work, and you're really enlightening us today, is that, as you know, it's almost like we used to naturally breathe this way, but either we forgot, or, we just got stuck in a pattern of, like you said, fight or flight constantly. So we're always up here. And so all these health issues that we just associate with aging are actually not. They're really associated with, not properly breathing, shockingly enough.
A lot of it is, yes. A lot of it is just from that. It's in a simple thing, too. What I've found is a lot of times individuals will create a complex issue. I'll put that in quotations. But, sometimes to fix a complex problem is a really simple solution. And it's as simple as just returning back to your breath. Slowing down, taking a few minutes. There's been amazing studies on just like slowing down a few minutes a day, just noticing your breath. Like one of the most popular breathing patterns out there, techniques I like to talk about, is resonancy frequency breathing, which is just a fancy name for pretty much a 5-second inhale, and a 5-second exhale. So you're slowing down to 6 breaths a minute as opposed to the 12 to 20 that we normally take.
Wow.
That has very profound effects on the body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just that alone. Very interesting.
Just a very simple technique. I mean, just all this is done in and out through the nose, trying to move the belly as much as you can, and just a slow, steady inhale, slow, steady exhale. And it's really magical.
I'm already feeling.
Yeah, right. Just in that little bit, just that little bit. When we slow down, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, the mind, the heart, all these things can work better, right? When they're not in a state of stress, right? It's like you can think better, you can focus. Again, all the things we're having issues with are almost a cascade of problems that stem from, the state of being. And what you're doing with the breath work, it sounds like is changing the person's state of being.
Yeah, it's really working from the inside out. It's allowing the individuals to dive back in. Like I just taught a class this morning, and we introduced it's a little bit more intense breathing pattern, and it kind of gets some energy moving within the body. And, it can be used for more of like anxiety, depression. If anyone's dealing with more PTSD, it can kind of shed a light on some deeper rooted issues. And one of the individuals was like, I saw some things that I needed to see without like sharing too much and being more discretionary. They saw some things that they needed to heal. And it just kind of brings some things to the forefront that we oftentimes suppress. So your breath can help kind of tap into more of that trauma being kind of a popular word we throw around nowadays, and help us really dive deep into releasing some of those things we hang on to.
Tell us a little bit about what working with a breath coach would be like.
Yeah, so it's I kind of intertwine meditation, breath work. I have a couple of different classes. I teach yoga, which is a breathing practice. It's more of this Ujjayi breath, this slow and steady in and out through the nose. But the breath work, it just kind of varies and depends on the individual. Somebody's dealing with a high level of stress, we'll come in and just notice the breathing patterns, see, because a lot of people, back to the old hand on the chest, hand on the belly, I've had numerous individuals be like, I never even knew that was how we were supposed to breathe. Nobody's ever shown me, right? It's just something that we are almost expected to know how to do because, we do it all the time, but nobody has ever sat us down and really taught us like, hey, if you breathe better, these are the benefits. Hey, you know what? Here's a proper way to breathe. And that alone right there has had some profound effects on individuals and their stress levels. So that's where I usually start, is just education, showing people proper breathing mechanics, letting them practice that, and then just giving them a simple technique as simple as the resonancy frequency breath. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. When stress arises, we can slow our breath down. We can dictate whether or not it's going to linger or we can let it go. A lot of us, we get so entrenched in our thoughts and our beliefs and like, no, this is the way, this is how it's supposed to be. But in actual reality, it can be all these different sorts of ways. And sometimes just shifting our perspective, it's like looking at a sculpture from one side and it's beautiful, or it could be ugly from one side, but then you go to the other and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know. I can look at it from the bottom, the top, all these different ways. And so an event can happen, and just shedding a little bit different light on it can help you find more of the silver lining or the beauty that lies in certain situations. So yeah, certain breathing techniques. I'm not sure if you're familiar or have heard of the individual called Wim Hof. He has a breathing technique. He's a very interesting individual. For any of your listeners or learners who really want to dive into the deep end, he's an interesting individual who incorporates. He has a system. He incorporates cold showers, breath work, and daily movement, which is very, very profound. But his technique can also get you to very profound states. It's something out of this world, but also very of it. It's just something we've kind of lost track of, or lost our ability to tune in.
Right. And it sounds like our breath is such a pathway, it can really help us remember or reconnect,
I
right?
think
That deeper
connecting
part
is
of who
the
we are.
best word you could use. Because a lot of us, we don't realize the importance or the sacredness of this body and this vessel. Like, regardless of how we talk to it, what we throw at it, it continues to show up. And the breath can help us really tune back in, savor it, and, just give us a new lease on life. That's the best way to put it.
Mind, body, and spirit, once again.
For
Well,
sure.
I know you also are teaching people how to become breath coaches. Is that right, Randall? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm in the process of formulating my own breathwork certification. So not quite yet, but it's in the wraps, it's in the works. Just getting some fine details and all that squared away. So yeah, that is something I'm very excited about and eager to do, is actually share my knowledge with others and then turn them into breathwork instructors as well, because it's something so simple but yet so profound, of like the impact not only it's had on my life, but seeing the impact on others' lives. It's just simple breath. It's a very beautiful, natural thing that we do, that we just don't take the time to really pay attention to.
Yeah, take full advantage of. Life gets easier when you breathe correctly.
I would say 100%. Just Maggie, it's so simple, like just to slow down and take a breath. But we get caught in the rat race, if you will. Just that slowing down kind of helps calm the storm. I love the analogy of turning down that internal volume, right? Because we get to dictate whether or not how high it goes. Just a few breaths can help turn it down.
So to be able to turn that down, or at least understand that you control how your body reacts to the stress, or how your mind, your spirit, that's really powerful, especially right now, because I think people are dealing with a lot. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah, it's weird times, really weird times for a lot of individuals. And yeah, just the simple reminders. What I found is simplicity is key. My dad used to tell me this principle of KISS. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's called keep it simple, stupid. I incorporate that into a lot of things, because the more complex it gets, things get lost.
Well, Randall, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, this has given us so much to think about and work on. So where can people find out more about you and your work?
So either on the website at www.muksha-therapy.com, my Instagram at Healing with Randall. And then I just recently started a YouTube channel called at Healing with Randall as well. And I'll be introducing some meditation videos. I've got an introductory meditation video up right now. It's about 15 minutes. And then I also, this is kind of funny, the timing of all this, I just put up a introductory guide to breathing properly, the hand on the belly, hand on the chest. It's 5 minutes long. It'll walk you through everything you need to know about breathing more efficiently. You can message me via Instagram, via the website, any one of those if you have more questions. And then we've got some exciting things coming in this 2023, the breathwork instructor, as well as looking to put a lot of that online as well. So there are going to be some big things to come in this 2023.
Now that we've heard from Randall, it's time for your career tip. This one is about identifying your career-defining moments for clues to your ideal career. Many of my clients feel as if there isn't any rhyme or reason to their career. They feel all over the place and at the whim of others. Perhaps you feel the same, but don't worry, there are clues. Let's take a look. I start every client with a question. What brought you here today? I believe we are all on a path. As a career coach, I'm able to see patterns in people's choices. I can start to point out the common themes that already exist. They do exist, trust me. Try this. Write out your defining moments from your existing career path. A defining moment can be a career change or choice, or it can even be some advice you received. And don't just write down the moment, but also include the why. Here are a few ideas for you to start seeing your defining moments. Review your resume. What prompted you to choose your first job? What worked and didn't work in that position? Look at each job change you've made and note your key reasons for that decision. More money, more responsibilities, more creative environment, a more supportive boss, a less demanding schedule, industry or economic changes, perhaps a layoff or downsizing. Write down why you made each change. You might also want to note key results of your decisions. How did that change work out? Were you more satisfied or less as a result? Who helped you make that decision? Think back over your career path and document which people have had the most effect on your career choices. You may have had a mentor, a teacher, or college professor, or even your parents encourage you to pursue a certain path. Write them down. What was it about the things they said that motivated you to take their advice? For me, one defining moment was when my mentor suggested I move to New York, leaving Philadelphia. While in New York, I changed careers, started a business, hosted a weekly national radio talk show, met my husband, got married, had a baby, and put on an off-Broadway show entitled Follow Your Dreams. That move was a career-defining experience for sure, and I'm grateful to my mentor for the advice. Who helped you along the way? As the saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. You will most likely find several defining moments in your career path. Again, make a list of 3 to 5 and provide the reason for the change and track your level of job satisfaction along the way. Whatever you do, don't lament your prior choices. Those decisions and learnings led you to who you are, where you are today. But let the past stay in the past. Feeling upset or sorry for your choices will only take energy and focus away from your today. It often makes my clients feel better when they realize that they haven't been floundering all these years. Trust me, neither have you. You'll start to see a pattern emerge in your choices. You are on a path, perhaps a winding one, but a path nonetheless. To hear more tips like this one, check out my new book, Are You Ready to Love Your Job? Available on Amazon, or check out the link in the show notes. I'm sorry to say that we've run out of time. Thanks for joining again. I'll be back next month. Here's a quote to keep you inspired from Martin Luther King Jr. in honor of his birthday. Join with the earth and each other to bring new life to the land, to restore the waters, to refresh the air, to renew the forests, to care for the plants, to protect the creatures, to celebrate the seas, to rejoice in the sunlight, to sing the song of the stars, to recall our destiny, to renew our spirits, to reinvigorate our bodies, to recreate the human community, to promote justice and peace, to love our children and love one another, to join together as many and diverse expressions of one loving mystery for the healing of the earth and the renewal of all life. Thanks for listening. I'm Maggie Mistel, your career coach, inspiring you to make a great living.
To understand more about how Maggie can help with your individual career needs and goals, contact her at maggiemistel.com or facebook.com/makingaalivingwithMaggieMistel. Together, we can all make a great living. Great living.